All right, today we're going to be looking at Kim Kardashian's astrological birth chart to first see the path of her consciousness, the spiritual evolution she's meant to undergo in this incarnation. Then we're going to look at the psychological blocks that are holding her back from moving along that path of spiritual evolution in a harmonious and fluid way. Finally, the alchemy, the transformational process I would recommend to her to heal those blocks and transform herself to become the best version of herself as she walks along the path of her spiritual journey on this planet. Let's get right into it. We always start off with the spiritual evolution, the spiritual path of consciousness, which is the South Node, North Node, Rahu, Ketu axis. So we start with Ketu, the South Node. That is where Kim Kardashian is most, and all of us are, wherever that is in the chart, where we are most karmically comfortable, where we have a lot of experience, right, in those archetypal significations of the chart, of the sign and the house. So for Kim, that is the third house with Aquarius. So the third house signifies our siblings, right? Siblings, communication, social media, the internet, effort, will, and also the intellect, learning. So Kim, believe it or not, is smart and she is strategic and she likes competition and is able to use her will. She is hardworking. She's come out and criticized people for not working hard enough. Now, it's easy to work hard when the benefits are millions of dollars, but I digress. Point being is that she definitely puts in the work. She's not a one-hit wonder. She's not lucky in the sense that she just fell into her success. She understood the game. She played the game. Third house is games as well, strategy. So she was able to play the game because she has a lot of experience with strategy, with competition, with using her will and effort to get the things that she wants. With the sign Aquarius, what does Aquarius signify? Aquarius is our psychology. So she understands human psychology. She also understands society, peers, groups, people. Aquarius is the 11th sign. And the 11th sign is representing social networks and peers, groups, organizations, things that are involving big, large groups of people. So Kim understands how the culture moves, how people move, how societies move, and the psychology behind that. But it's also signifying her own psychological emptiness, her own psychological blind spots. She's aware that she's very limited in her perspective. But she's pathologically relying on the third house and Aquarius significations of social media, of society, of her peers, because the third house is a social house. It's a karma house. So it's about interacting with her neighbors, her peers, friends, siblings, and things like I just said, teammates as well. So she's really good with working with teammates. And then Aquarius, like I said, is a social sign. It's an air sign. It's all about exchanging with society. But in this incarnation, she needs to move towards her North Node, Rahu, in Leo of the 9th house. Now, these are both self-indicators. The 9th house signifies our path, our dharma, our spirituality, and our belief in something greater than ourselves, a long-term vision and goal. It's all about purpose with the 9th house. And then you also have Leo, which is the king, the lion, standing in your own kingdom that comes through being yourself, being your true self, not being what you think society, what groups of people, what your peers and teammates and siblings will approve of, but what makes you feel internally confident and solid in yourself. That is where she needs to move in this incarnation, okay? And I think it's interesting that she tried to be a lawyer because the 9th house signifies spirituality, but it also signifies law, okay? And Leo, again, would be signified or would represent her building her own law practice, being the center of it, being the king, being the lion, and also practicing law. I think she might have got her law degree, I don't know, but if she was a practicing lawyer, building her own firm, doing that work, that would be fulfilling her Rahu. What we know Kim Kardashian as this socialite, social media, internet celebrity star, that is her South Node, because that's where she feels comfortable. In the North Node, you feel a pull towards it. We all have a pull towards our North Node. We want to fulfill that part of the chart because it balances out the energy. We're too pathologically locked in our South Node and avoiding our North Node. And so for Kim, that would be being a lawyer. She had the right idea, but I'm not sure if she's fulfilling that. So what would help her, or I guess what is blocking her from moving towards her Rahu area, her North Node area of the chart. First, perfectionist. This is going to be based off of Lajitadi Avastas. I'm actually going to go here. Why is she a perfectionist? Where do I see that in her chart? So we see that with Venus and Virgo. Venus is debilitated in Virgo. Virgo is all about purity. It's all about perfection, cleanliness, organization. It's all about the meticulous details and refinement. It's an earth sign, so it wants tangible, practical solutions and things that work, plans of action that work, step-by-step process. When you have Venus, a sign of love, right? It's more of a feeling or relaxation, surrender. That's why it's exalted, where is it? In Pisces, because that's Pisces is the sign of letting go, surrender. The ocean is just pure ego dissolution, or Virgo is very neurotic in the head. And so you're taking the love part, the part that's supposed to connect with other people, and you're putting it in the head. So she's very much in her head when she's interacting with other people. That is due to that Venus in Virgo. Now it makes her very attuned to how to refine her beauty and refine herself and make sure that every little piece of her outfits and her face and her body is perfect and pristine, but it causes a level of anxiety because if she's not perfect, if she's not presenting herself as this pristine, perfect image, it causes her anger and frustration and anxiety, like I just said, right? And that can be stressful and that can take a toll on one's body and take out the fun and fulfillment in life if you're constantly up here thinking about how you are presenting yourself and how other people are perceiving you. Next up is materialistic. We're going back to the 10th house. In Virgo with Jupiter. Jupiter is starved being with Venus. It's starved in a mercurial sign. Those are its two enemies. It does not like it does not like Mercury, which rules Virgo, so it doesn't like Virgo. It also doesn't like Gemini. And it doesn't like Venus, and it's with those two. Now it's getting some support from the moon because it does like the moon. The moon's looking at Jupiter. So she does have a certain level of goodness in her. She actually does have a level of altruistic drive, also coming from that Aquarius. Aquarius is a humanitarian sign, so she does actually care about people, believe it or not. Now, she falls victim to caring about her image more because of what's happening here in the 10th house in Virgo with Jupiter and Venus, because Jupiter is our joy, it's our inspiration, it's our creativity, it's what makes us feel alive. And when it's in a very practical, pragmatic, cerebral sign like Virgo, and with Venus, which is all about external fulfillment, Jupiter is supposed to come from the inside, internal fulfillment, Venus is external fulfillment, like food or luxuries or comforts or people. Things outside of oneself is what Venus rules. Mercury is about skills and abilities to get things from the outside, but Jupiter is that intrinsic level of joy you get. And it's usually manifest most strongly in children before it's beaten down by society. Let's put it this way. Kim's moments of joy as a child were most likely inhibited, repressed in favor of being practical, planning, organizing, and not just being a free-flowing, effortless being. Unfortunate. It can be difficult, and that can hold her back from moving towards her purpose, moving towards the 9th house in Leo and being the king she's meant to be. Finally, ego image. So this is probably the most, believe it or not, the most difficult part of her chart. So she has Saturn in Libra with the sun. Saturn is exalted. It loves Libra. This means that she's very good at selling things. This means she's very good at exchanging things and making good deals with other people, being able to get the most value from the things that she has and getting what she needs from the external, trading with other people. That's what Libra is. It's the merchant, it's the man with the bazaar and the two scales. She's really good at making win-win deals with other people. But she has that sun there with Libra, where it's debilitated. With Saturn, who's a strong enemy, they both don't like each other, so they're both hurting each other. Saturn's gonna win because it's stronger in Libra, it's exalted in Libra, while the sun is debilitated, so Saturn wins out. Saturn signifies the ego. It also signifies the body and death and decay and aging and time. So when you have this core essence, essentially the soul or the higher self of the sun debilitated in Libra, you have somebody who is giving up their own uniqueness, their own unique individuality in favor of being socially harmonious with other people, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, a sign that the sun sits in. And the sun is never really bad in a sign. What makes this difficult is that Saturn starving the sun there's a karmic retribution where she's being internalized, where you can't be yourself. You can't be true to yourself. And the sun rules Leo. So she can't think of herself as this individual who can feel good and self-confident in her being and just be solid in her self-esteem. She's constantly having to look to the outside, constantly pinging off how other people are identifying her. You notice how there might be some people in your life you've met, or you might be this person right now who I'm talking to, where it doesn't really matter what other people think about them. They're solid in themselves. As long as they do the actions they feel good about, they can be okay with themselves at the end of the day. They can sleep soundly. Or Kim could do the right thing, but if everybody hates her for doing the right thing, it'll be difficult for her to sleep. And she would prefer to do the wrong things, not necessarily saying evil, but just more so egotistical things or ego gratifying things. She'd rather do those things and get the approval than being true to her true self, whatever that may be. And also Saturn, when it starves Sun, you have somebody who is scared of death, over-identified with the body, and doesn't want to age. And we're seeing this with Kim and her surgeries and cosmetics. And look, she has every right to do whatever she wants, but I'm just observing through the chart that this can cause a lot of internal friction, conflict, and suffering, unfortunately. But we all have a certain level of baggage. I am not exempt as well. I have my own shit. You have your own shit. So she just happened to be a public figure with her chart online for me to analyze. So what do we do? What's the transformational process I'd recommend to her if she were my client? First, inner perfectionist. So you have that perfectionist, you have that part of yourself that needs everything to be perfect. You work with the inner perfectionist, that internalized part of yourself, understanding what it truly needs, because nothing will be perfect. You have to learn to let things go with the flow. You can't always plan everything and refine every detail and make sure every little thing is perfect, especially when you're dealing with other people. Sometimes they're not going to like you. Sometimes they're going to judge you for things, and you have to be okay with that. And so she needs to learn the source of this inner perfectionist because it's trying to protect her. Most likely, she had a parent or caregiver who expected high things of her. She probably had a lot of high standards placed on her when she was younger. A lot of identification too with how pretty she was and how beautiful she was and amazing. And so she thought, okay, this is what makes me valuable. I'm valuable because of my body and the way that I look and my aesthetics. So I have to be careful of not losing that, not succumbing to aging. She's really identified with that young, beautiful girl that got all that validation growing up, most likely. Gotta let go of that. Work with the inner perfectionist. Next one, minimalist. To balance out that materialistic mindset, because again, when you have Jupiter with Venus, Mercury, those are two external planets. Mercury is about skills and abilities to get things. Venus is about taking care of and exchanging and trading with other people to get things. So it's all about getting things outside, but neglecting her own inner joy. Children is a beautiful source of this. Jupiter represents children. So being a mother is a beautiful way that she can heal her Jupiter, but also not having as many things when you have Jupiter with Venus and in a Virgo sign or a Mercury sign, it expands. Jupiter, wherever it is, it expands and gives you a lot of those things. So she has a lot of skills, abilities to get things from the outside. And she has a lot of things from the outside, which is Venus, a lot of luxuries, comforts. She has to be willing to let go of those things and not rely on her happiness and joy based off of what's happening, because it's never-ending cycle. You're constantly going to get another luxury, another thing, another item or person or piece of approval that you think you want, and you find out that at the end of the tunnel, it's just more craving, more desire, more hunger. It's a bottomless pit. And so maybe charity would be good, giving that stuff away instead of throwing it out would be amazing. And just living a more minimalistic, simple lifestyle, so she doesn't have to overthink everything so much. Finally, ego dissolution for that ego image. She has that attachment to her body. I mean, aging is going to do it for you, but you can have people who hold on to it, and it makes aging very, very uncomfortable for her. I believe that is happening to her right now. She's really struggling with the idea that her body is aging and that she is going to not be Kim Kardashian, the amazingly young and beautiful woman that she once was, and to be honest, still is, right? But no matter what, right, time comes. Time is inevitable. Death and decay is inevitable. And so learning to accept that through ego dissolution practices. So she could do, sensory deprivation tanks, Kriya yoga, breath work, psychedelics. This would be something that I would consult with her to see what she's comfortable with. There's many different ways of dissolving the ego and accepting that you are not the body, but it all is really rooted in some transcendent perspective, some religion, most likely some spiritual practice, whatever resonates with her the most, or you, if you have this placement of a Sun and Saturn conjunction, or Sun in Libra with Saturn, which makes it even more intense. But when you have this identification with the ego, you have to learn how to transcend the body, transcend the ego persona image that we present to the world, because it is impermanent. It is not real, because it does not persist over time like our soul does. Anyway, I appreciate your time. We really appreciate a like and a subscribe. And also, love to hear your opinion, whether you agree or disagree. Fair enough. Love to discuss with you guys. Cheers.